Okay, you turkeys, listen up. I'm talking to you Republicans, not the Democrats, because we got an election coming up, and you're sitting on your fat butts believing the media that you're going to take over the House, maybe the Senate. But I got news for you. The media is always wrong. And I'll tell you why. You got a tough road coming up because the unions, all right, the people are going to vote. The union people are going to vote Democrat. And the state where they're Democrats, liberal states, they're going to vote Democrat to keep things going. And you got a tough row going because you got to change people's minds. And you got to work hard. And here's the things you got to do. Because I'll tell you right now, that election was rigged, and this one will be rigged too, if they can get away with it. And I'll tell you why it was rigged. 7 o'clock on election night, Fox News went off the air. Why? Because all before the year, months before that, they were playing the tape of the other networks using reporting how Clinton was going to win when Trump had already won. So they just went off the air completely. They knew, all right? And you got to believe the press and all that stuff. They're going against Trump, everything they can do. So you got a hard road. And here's the rules to have an honest election. Each election district has got to have one Democrat and one Republican and one official inspector. And you take the computer. It can be designed or it can be bought, but it can be designed by a local high school. But what you want to do is you test the computer before the election, and you run in 50 votes from each party. And then you have one person have vote for the other party. See if it comes out right. And then that way, you test it and you get the results. Now, then you have it under lock and key till election day. And you open it up and you run the election, and poll watchers from both parties are always there. This time, you got to really check people that you know, because what's going to happen is with the illegal aliens coming in, they've been distributed all over the country, and they've been given driver license, and they're able to speak. But anyway, you got to test them pretty good, because they're going to vote Democrat, and you got to watch who they come in to. And they're like in this town where I am, no other town, and the new Shell station, they got a couple of illegal immigrants working there because they can't speak English. All right. Now, anyway, I went in and asked a question. All right. So, guy came out and answered it. So that told me they're illegally. They're going to try to vote, and then spread it all over the United States. I live in a small town, so I've got illegal in there. You've got something like 15,000 people a day moving into different towns, and they're all over. They've been bust. And, Texas, they set them up to Washington, and this Washington bust them out to another place. So you got the tough road there. So now you check that on election day. Remember, there should be a policeman at each election district to take care of any problems that involve. But you and your compatriot on the other party, you'll be working together, because the machines were voted by the liberal states. Is where they really got messed up. And the way I think they did it is a Trump vote 1/4, and a Biden vote was 1 3/4, and they were very tricky on that. So the the things came out even. Now, what you do, see, this is why you run tests before the election to make sure. And the high school can develop that, or you can buy the computer and set it up and program it yourself. But you never lose control of your voting district. And that includes all three. No sending it to Europe to get, none of that stuff. It stays right in their thing. And then at the end of election day, when your computer comes out and gives you the results, you got to make sure you get the results from the computer. And then the Republican and the Democrat, they have their papers and they fill them out. And the inspector fills out their paper. And they all agree. All right. Now you got an honest thing. So the Democrat reports to his party headquarters. The Republican reports to his party headquarters. And the inspector sends those sheets to the state Secretary of State, I think it is, does elections, their results. So you got 3 people that agree, and it gets sent down to the. That way, it cannot be changed, and you have an honest election. Now, that's the main thing that you got to do, and then you got to remember never to lose control of the district. And the next thing you do is you go out and you make some calls, call on some Republicans, and tell them how much you need it, because the homegrown Democrats, that are in power now, they're looking to get into reelected all the time, so they get chairmanships. When they get chairmanships, they get their own car and they get a whole lot of goodies. All right, and you're paying for that stuff. So you got to make sure that you have control of your vote and the voting district. And don't lose control of the district. And that goes for both parties, because it's the guys in Washington, they want digital banking and all that. That digital banking, and they're hiring tons of IRS people to go over your taxes. And then after they got that done, they're going to say, so they're going to start doing your income tax for you. And then eventually, the bank will do your taxes by everything that comes in through the bank. And then they do your taxes, they file them for you. And then if you get any refund, they'll be forwarded. Because these guys are spending so much money of our money, you're never going to get it back. All right? So you got to change things now. This election, and it's got to be a broad sweep. It can't be the House goes Republican by 10 votes or the Senate by 1 vote. None of that stuff anymore. You got to have this time. You got to have veto-proof Congresses. That means veto-proof the Senate and veto-proof in the House. That means you just clean house. Let them start all over again. Just clean them out. And then we'll see where we go for the air. And I want to thank you for listening, because this is an important message. Vote counts. And I'll tell you why now. The secret of voting. How much your vote counts. If you vote for your guy, all right, the opposition's got to get another vote to negate your vote. And then they got to get another vote to make their vote good. So it takes 2 votes to cancel out your 1 vote. And that's how important your vote is. 2 to 1. And don't forget that. And thank you for listening. Bye. And